I'm going to get things done. We're going to make it huge.
You Congress people are pretty stupid.
Yeah, we just going to make it happen.
You're all a bunch of cats.
Yeah. Thank you for sticking with us on the battlefield. Been kind of perusing Facebook, watching some of the tweets and the posts that people are making out there on Twitter and Facebook about the debate. And Bernie Sanders said that he would go around Congress if Congress didn't pass what he wants. So, surprise, everyone. So my question would be, which one of the GOP candidates would go around Congress like Bernie Sanders, like Barack Obama? I mean,
would make deals and like just get it done.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to just get things done.
Just get out there and build a wall.
Yeah, I mean, hell with the laws. We're just gonna, instead of being a nation of laws, we'll be a.
I'm the president.
Yeah, I'm gonna get things done. We're gonna make it huge.
You Congress people are pretty stupid.
Yeah, we just gonna make it happen.
You're all a bunch of cats.
Yeah. Hey, we got that clip. I think we got that clip. You want to listen to that clip?
Well, as long as you can bleep it.
Yes, I can bleep it. You ready? Check this out. I'm gonna actually hit the keyboard exactly at the right moment. You ready?
Because I have very sensitive ears.
Yes. Here we go. Check this out. This is Donald Trump speaking in hushed tones.
Oh, wait. By the way, he was running ads in Iowa holding Bibles that his mother gave him, and then he gets to liberal New Hampshire, where they got like 4 evangelicals and like 2 black people, and he says this.
You heard the other night at debate, they asked Ted Cruz, serious question, well, what do you think of waterboarding? Is it okay? And honestly, I thought he'd say absolutely, and he didn't. He said, well, it's, he's concerned about the answer, because some people, she just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.
What's sad is if you're watching it. Did you watch the video or you just heard the audio, Trey?
Oh, no. I watched the video. I mean, after he says it and the crowd goes wild, he like steps away from the microphone to let the crowd just congeal all over each other.
Yeah. It was like some big crowdular orgasm. You know?
Right. He had to step back so he wouldn't get a little splash on his face or something.
It's so bad. But oh man, look, when I heard that, I was like, I really didn't expect anything more or anything less. You know, like some people got all really aggravated about it, and I'm kind of like, dude, it's Donald Trump.
Right, he does those kind of Trump shots all the time.
Yeah, Trump shots. I'm not going anywhere from there. Oh, this is so bad. We've gotten into the old dirty black man. We're getting into the dirty Trump. Next thing you know, we'll be talking about porn stars. Hey, by the way, speaking of porn stars.
Oh, really? That's a
yeah.
segue?
So the latest on Ted Cruz. So Ted Cruz had apparently he did a commercial, and come to find out, his people didn't vet his actresses.
Oh, is this true?
I read it on Mediaite.
The interwebs?
I read it on Mediaite. They're usually kind of left leaning, but they're pretty legit as far as not sending out crap. But hey, yeah, if you do something stupid, they'll call you out. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, a lot of these girls work that type of business, right? And a lot of them are trying to actually be real actresses.
Sure.
You know, people, like actresses who get paid, like, not just a little bit of money, but like a lot of money to like take their clothes off and have sex on camera.
But you know what? If somebody comes to me for a job, now, if it was like a drug addict coming, a former drug addict come into what had felony and all that, and I do an interview with the guy, and I find out that he's a felon, and I find out somebody else is not a felon wants the same job, I'm not going to hire the felon.
Yeah, probably not. You're right.
I mean, you're going to run a campaign based on principles, and look, Cruz has a lot of people working for him. I don't know that it's necessarily a reflection on Cruz per se, but
come on, dude. If this is true, if Ted Cruz really had some porn actresses, some softcore porn, then like Donald Trump just lost 10% of his voters because now like all of a sudden Ted Cruz has credibility or something.
Well, they got a bunch of half-naked pictures of Trump's wife floating around out there. So,
well,
I guess that's soft porn.
No, it's like Showtime. Like
Showtime, Skinamax.
Yeah, Skinamax.
Hey, I'm all for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? I like to give it up to the ladies as much as I can.
Like in Chicago?
Like in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
Giving a shout out for one of our commercials. But all right. So what else I got on in the docket here? So of course, did you see the latest tweet from Donald Trump? Donald Trump came out.
Tweet from Donald Trump.
Yeah, one of the latest. I say it's the latest tweet.
He's a prolific tweeter, by the way.
Yeah, he is a tweeter. He's a tutor and a tweeter. And his tweet that came out, I guess it's on the 11th, which is today, at 10:14 a.m., says, "Remember, it was the Republican Party with the help of conservatives that made so many promises to their base, but didn't keep them."
What?
Yeah.
Wait, if there's one guy that you could point to that said he ran as a conservative and kept his promises, that's Ted Cruz.
Absolutely right. And this is coming from a guy that's not a conservative.
Now, could you imagine somebody saying that the Republican Party is to blame for the gridlock that we see, the differences that we see within the two parties, the fact that nothing's getting done and all this, right? And say that you want somebody that's not going to be, that's not going to give into and people that you don't like, liberals, progressives, this, that, or the other. And then there's actually a candidate that has a record that you can touch, you can pick it up. It's real. It's tangible. It's not theory. It's not what he will do. It's what he has done and been successful at it. And he's pissed off the very people that you say you're angry with. And then you go and support a progressive.
Well, it's amazing to me.
That's the most disjointed logic ever. So,
all right. So let's break this down. There's an establishment that has done nothing good for the country for the most part, okay? The establishment class, both the Republicans and the Democrats. People that you don't want to work with because they're not going to work with you. They're going to try to push their agenda. So you have to try to stop their agenda. So you want to support somebody that's not going to do what they want to do, and it's going to try to push things like Reagan did across the line for a more conservative agenda. So instead, you're going to support somebody that's willing to make deals with the people that, for the most part, have been trying to want to get things done, quote unquote, that is going to be more crony capitalist, more corrupt,
right,
than it's ever been.
Yeah.
It just baffles my mind. And the fact that is, Trump, his biggest thing is that he doesn't get along with the establishment. But the biggest reason why Cruz is not electable is because he can't get along with the establishment.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
And then here's the other thing. And then because Trump can't really articulate and explain conservatism, he's just going to simply blame conservatives because that just sounds like you're blaming Republicans because the average low information voter thinks that all Republicans are conservative.
But he's not only is he not articulating conservatism, he's articulating progressivism.
Now, let me ask you this, Chris. What do you think? because I didn't have this piece of information when we did our second hour yesterday. Rush Limbaugh came out and basically endorsed Ted Cruz 2 days ago.
Yeah, I heard he spoke very highly of him. I don't.
He came out and basically said, if conservatism is your bag, you have no choice but to vote for Ted Cruz.
Right. Which is strange because Rush doesn't endorse anybody.
Well, because Rush said he is, talking about Cruz, he is the closest thing to Ronald Reagan in this generation.
That's right.
Now, you can say, well, hey, Beck came out and supported Ted and actually gave an actual endorsement. This is just Rush speaking highly of Ted, but I mean, dude, you can be like, well, I don't like Glenn Beck because he's a tool. Okay, whatever. But dude, you can't say that like Rush Limbaugh is establishment. You can't say Rush Limbaugh is not conservative and is the greatest articulator for conservative values.
Unless you listen to Savage.
Unless you what?
Listen to Savage. If you listen to
but even Savage, Savage is supporting Trump, so clearly Savage is willing to compromise conservative principles to win.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Savage, for the most part, is more libertarian than
I was going to say, isn't he more libertarian?
Yeah, but he's more secular as well, you know? I mean, he's not like Beck, you know? I mean, Beck is really
into the spiritual side of things.
Right.
And
yeah. And look, quite honestly, I mean, Savage, first of all, he was a liberal years ago, right?
Was he?
Yeah, he was a big-time liberal. And
it's amazing, these people who used to be liberals and then became really strong conservatives.
Yeah, and look, I don't listen to Savage all the time. I actually subscribe to his podcast, and I listen to him on occasion. And I agree with a lot of what he says, but he's not a principled conservative,
right?
You know,
he's an opportunistic conservative.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think he's more of the entertainment type. I think he aligns with the persona of Trump.
Well, I've been listening to his latest book, Government Zero.
Yeah,
and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I always wonder though if he's got ghostwriters. He comes out with a book like every 6 months.
Well, isn't he a Berkeley professor?
He is a professor. I don't know if he's at Berkeley. If he's at Berkeley, good Lord.
I know. I think he is. I think he teaches at UC Berkeley. But Trump blaming. Look, Rush played a clip, and I know shouldn't be. You know, people say, "Oh, you shouldn't parrot Rush Limbaugh," but he spent an hour today on this point. Donald Trump went out there and claimed, and this ties into what we talked about in the beginning of the show today. He went out there and said that the reason the economy is the way it is primarily because China's manipulating the currency, and we're manipulating it, but we're too stupid, so we're not really manipulating our own currency, and this, that, and the other. And Rush jumped in and said he doesn't get it. It's liberalism. It's progressivism that is ruining our economy. The same economy that Bernie Sanders is talking about that is rigged has been rigged by progressives.
That's right.
So it's the idea that free market capitalism. Look, he even played both. I think both. Was it both of them? Or Beck, I know for sure, played the Milton Friedman greed and Phil Donahue clip.
Right.
Rush talked about the difference between socialism and free market capitalism, and talked about how the liberals are the ones who have ruined the economy. They have regulated business out of the economy, pushed jobs out of the country. The problem is not China. The problem is liberalism. We need to stop tearing up each other on the Republican side, and we need to start calling out liberalism as the problem. But see, Cruz does that. Rubio does that. Trump doesn't do that because he doesn't see that as the problem, because he's not principled. It's just not in him to understand it like that.
Well, I mean, he's coming from a position. He's different from the Ted Cruzes and the Rubios, because Trump is coming from an authoritative position. He's going to make deals. His whole idea of becoming president is to be a powerful man that can wield that power in a way to make deals that are supposedly good for the country. The bottom line is that there is no president that has the authority to make the deals that Donald Trump's talking about.
Correct.
And secondly, the idea of being able to control the economy is not conservative.
Right, or free market.
That's right. And so, all right, so we're going to do this and do that for the economy. We don't want the government involved in the economy. The whole reason the economy's in tatters right now is because of the federal government when they're doing with the economy.
Right.
The best analogy that I can use about the federal government and what its roles are, if you all aren't familiar, we're actually down here in the New Orleans area. And one of the problems that we have down here in New Orleans is the coastal erosion, right? So,
right.
And the reason why, one of the major reasons why there's so much coastal erosion is because many years ago, the federal government came in and put levees all around the river and more or less prevented the flooding of southern Louisiana.
Right.
Now, for people that want to go and prevent, getting flooded, it's a great thing, right?
Right.
But the bottom line is that the coastal erosion is actually causing a problem where when storms come in, they actually decimate houses that are supposed to be being protected by these levees from the river. So now the river's no longer a threat. Now the ocean is a threat, or the Gulf is a threat.
The Gulf of Mexico, right.
Right. So here's the analogy. The federal government tries to do one thing and causes a whole nother problem that's much more expensive than what it took to put levees up.
That's right.
So what should have taken place, first and foremost, is people should have realized this is not a place that needs to be inhabited because nature didn't intend it to be that way. Right. So let nature take its course. Let the free market take its course. Because if we wouldn't have put the levees up around, then we would have had much more coastline. Would have had much more protection from the Gulf of Mexico. This is the example of the federal government ideally doing something in one case to try to prevent one thing and creating a massive problem on the other end of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then add into it that the fact that they're in the business of flood insurance.
That's right.
So you can go build a house in a clear floodplain. There was a time when we used to let the Mississippi River down in this part of the country overflow its banks so that it would deposit rich, fertile soil that would replenish the marshes. But now the marshes are drying up. You got saltwater intrusion. I remember when I ran for governor, that was the toughest issue for me to really kind of grasp, because I took a helicopter ride and saw clearly the canals that had been carved out of the marshlands by the oil companies and petrochemical industries and stuff like that to make travel quicker, safer, faster, and so on and so forth, more efficient.
Right.
And you saw where all that salt water had a clear passage through. We had lived through Katrina and saw the mister go, what it did. All that water came up and stressed out the levees and the canals, the drainage canals in the city, all the way into the city, all the way up to the lake. But it was tough to balance a free market, to take a free market approach to something that had been so decimated by crony capitalism and big, aggressive government. They had regulated certain things out of the marsh that was good for it. They had, through the Army Corps, had done some things that prevented the marsh from thriving. And then on top of that, they had become beholden to big oil that had just carved up the marshland. So it was, I'm not gonna lie, dude, it would have been probably the toughest issue for me when I ran for governor here in Louisiana to really I'm not saying stay true to my conservative principles, but man, I understood that land is a buffer and it will destroy the city of New Orleans one day if the right storm comes, like Katrina was. Katrina was that storm until it, went toward Mississippi at the very last moment. But, look, you talking about the economy and Trump saying he's going to make these deals. We got to keep in mind that Trump is the same guy, Chris, that supported TARP, He said you had to do something to shore up the banks because you'd have to make a run you'd have a run on every bank. He supported the 2008 bailout, saying, I think the government should stand behind them 100%. You can't lose those auto companies. They're great. They make wonderful products. And he said the federal government could easily save those companies. I don't even need to go into his whole eminent domain thing. But he's gotten tons of tax breaks for his commercial properties in New York, but he got them through crony capitalist kind of means.
He got a bailout.
That's absolutely correct. He got a bailout. He got special treatment for one business over another with the tax code conflicts, and that does not go with free market principles. He said that Obama's 2009 stimulus probably not used in its fullest. Certain of things that were given weren't really stimulus. They were pork, as we call it. But, for overall, I think President Obama's doing well. You need to do stimulus from time to time to help keep the banks alive. I mean, this is a guy he's a billionaire, but he's not. You would think he'd be good. This is the miscalculation on a lot of people that support him. You think that because he's been successful in his personal life and in business, that somehow that's going to translate into him being a good economist. This is not Thomas Sowell or Milton Friedman running for president. This is a crony capitalist. This is the problem. This is a guy contributing to the establishment over the years because he was a businessman who had a bunch of money and needed special favors. So it's like you got to keep that in mind when you see his success and understand that his success is also predicated on a ton of failure and usage of laws that allowed his companies to go bankrupt.
But isn't that what progressives do anyway? They see something that they can manipulate, and they say, well, here's a set of rules, regulations, laws, or whatever, and hell, I can use that to my advantage. I'll bend it as much as I possibly can to get as much as I want out of it. Doesn't that what progressives do?
It's a human nature thing, but in terms of governmental affairs, you see that most with progressives, yes. Because here's why. Because there is nothing greater than the law and whoever maintains and enforces the law. And so if they raise themselves up to feel like they're above the law, they'll just simply violate it because they've transcended the law. That law is beneath me. Just look at Hillary Clinton and what she's going through right now. Name me one other person who would not be going through what she's doing right now, but she'd be doing it in an orange jumpsuit behind some type of prison bars instead of out and about running for president of the United States.
Hell, what they're doing to the Social Security, everybody be going to jail.
That's right.
It's a freaking huge Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi scheme. That's right.
So look, make sure you go to our website, lanterns.buzz. We've been doing a lot of work there, been posting a lot. You can go to blogbash.lanterns.buzz. Be sure to go there, blogbash.lanterns.buzz, and nominate us for the CPAC Blog Bash Podcast of the Year. We've been working very, very hard, and we really appreciate everybody that's been following us. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at LanternsBuzz. You can follow me at Paul Revere again. You can follow Trey at T-Rob Radio. You can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Chris Pilier. You can follow the show at facebook.com/LanternsBuzz. And also, by all means, go to weareamericaradio.com, also redstatetalkradio.com, and lanterns.buzz. I want to thank you for sticking with us, and we'll be back.